pater from Chumas and Maisras, if that's what a concern. So therefore we made a gzeira that it's chayav midirabanan, right? The rabbis made a gzeira. Afilu chala nami. So why didn't he make the gzeira on chala? The Gemara says, no. Chala, you have a way out. How do you have a way out? Efshar da afila pachas mechameshes ravaim kemach.
Small batches.
Right. Void. Pachas mechameshes ravaim kemach void. You can make small batches, and then you could be putter without selling it to a guy. You don't use the right amount. You make smaller batches, and you bake it. You don't have to take challah. So if you really wanted to beat the system, you don't need to sell it to a guy. You have other ways. So therefore, we're not going to just make a gzeira that a guy's challah is going to be chayiv when you have other ways out anyway. Mm-hmm. There's other ways of doing it. It would be like, pointless. Mm-hmm. The Gemara says, 1 second, Shumanami after Davala Karabaishya. Shuma, you also have other ways out. It's not the only solution to sell it to a guy. Damar Abaishya, Mara Madam Altuasa. A person could make a trick with his grain. And you bring it into the house together with the chaff. That means it was never really completed.
Separate.
It was never really separated. So that the animals could eat from it, and it'll be pater from Maisa. The Mefarshim discuss why does he say Kadesh Behemtai. What he means to say is that so that everyone can eat from it, and he's avoiding the.
Maybe say Behemta because when a person really do stuff like this is Maaseh Behemta.
Inami.
Thank you.
Or else he has another solution. The Eily derech gagais v'derech kafifas. If you don't take it through the front door, you're also pater.
Why?
Biarti hakodesh min habayis. That it has to be derech knisasei labayis or something. It has to be through the Pesach. So if you take it through the roof, or if you take it through some sort of enclosure or some other way, you don't keep it in the, you don't enter it into the house, it's going to be pater. So you have other solutions when it comes to truma. So why are you saying that we make a gzeira on truma, and we say that a guy's truma is chayiv midirabanan, and on chal you don't make a gzeira because you have other solutions. By truma you also have other solutions, and we made a gzeira. So the Gemara says, Hasan befarhesia zila bei milsa. Over there, the other solutions, everyone's going to see what he's doing. He didn't finish working on his grain. The fields are open. Everyone sees that he's taking the grain in without threshing and all of that. Everyone sees that he's taking it through the roof. He made a hole in his roof. He has all his workers putting it through the roof, down the chimney or whatever. So that's embarrassing. What's he going to do? He's going to sell it to a guy. No one will know. However, but hacha betzina it's leizila bein milsa. How much bread he's baking, and if he divides his dough into two parts, or he divides his flour into two, he makes two things, no one's going to know, and therefore he has ways of avoiding it. Okay. Let's see the Mishnah. Once it comes down, in other words, they had to sift the omer. And they started off with either 5 sa or 3 sa, and they would sift it and sift it and sift it. Once it reached the sarain, so nasan aleh shamnei ulavainase, they would put on it its oil and its levaina. The actual way of doing this was that first they put oil on the bottom, and then they put the flour in, and then they put the oil on the top. Then they mix that oil that they put in together with it. And then they would pour oil to smear it on the top. That was the way it was done.
But today, when you do sifting, is to make sure you don't have no bugs. I mean, correct if I'm wrong. Yeah. No bugs in the flours. But then they take it at the same time, they ground it, and why they have to sift it then?
The sifted makes the finest flour. It actually makes the flour fine, and it lets out the fine flour. And if you sift it, it actually can keep sifting it.
I want to see the mincha with levaina.
Oh, the levaina was actually removed. You smelt it over here, right? The levaina was actually removed and put on the fire. It was burnt. It was collected. the kaimitz of the flour and oil was collected, and then the levina was collected. Levina is frankincense.
Frankincense. You have it over there. If you got the glasses, you know.
It's from Abu Nassan. He did an exhibit. Yeah, we tried burning it also. It's a
It's a sap.
it's a sap from the tree.
See,
I don't know.
it doesn't smell.
Doesn't smell.
Originally, it smelled a little lemony, but then when we burnt it, it smelled like plastic.
Assuming that's the way.
It's on Amazon.
Can you eat it?
I don't know.
From what tree they got the liver?
I don't know. Probably frankincense. I don't know. I don't know the name of the tree. I don't know. Okay,
Jeff,
so
get us the
yatzak, they poured. Balal, they mixed it. Hanif, they waved it. Higish, they brought it close to the altar. Kamatz, they did the kmitza. The hikter, they offered it up. They burnt the kmitza. The hashar, the rest of it nechal l'kayanim, was eaten by the kayanim. Mishakara v'aymer. Once the aymer was brought, yoitzin, they would go out and we'd see in Shuk Yerushalayim. How are you supposed to read this? Umaitzin Shuk Yerushalayim Shemalei Kemach Kali Shalei Baratzin Chacham Divrei Reb Meir. Once the Eimer was brought, you're allowed to eat the new grain. You see, for many years this wasn't an issue because we stored grain in America, but then we started to sell grain and give grain to other countries. So we're not storing the grain. So there's an issue that begins around after Shavuos and more significant after Sukkot, is that the grain that grew in the summer grain, is now coming out into the market, and we're not allowed to eat the new grain until the second day of Pesach. So the reason why we don't know about this so much is because in Chutz La'aretz there's opinions that are lenient, however there are opinions that are strict. So some people, it says on the stores Kemach Yashan and all of that. Kemach Yashan means that they're only using the grain from before Pesach. So people that keep Yashan and they want to have grain, what they do is before Pesach they buy all types of things and they sell it to the guy for Pesach, the regular Pesach things, and then they have cereals the whole year and whatever they want to eat the whole year, or they just or it's just flour, but it has to be that it was ripe. It has to be the winter grain from last year, the winter grain.
האדמו"ר הזקן הוא לא אוחז בקמח ישן, זאת אומרת, לפי מה שאני הבנתי.
Okay, could be. I know. I see everyone's lenient.
It's lenient in this case on kemach yashan.
Could be. They have this thing from the Baal Shem Tov that he was relied on the Bach.
Oh, but in Eretz Yisrael, then you probably have to be more.
In Eretz Yisrael, it's a din. That's the real. Yeah.
It's always yashan in Eretz Yisrael.
Oh, yeah, everything's yashan?
Everything. The cake, the bread, everything is yashan. Because they get the grain from U.S.
So here's the question. Right when the Eimer was brought,
Except what they grow in Israel. They have field that they grow over there, then it's not.
Apparently, there were people that were already taking the grain, roasting it, not eating it, roasting the grain, getting it ready. Once the Eimer was brought, it was the markets of Jerusalem were already prepared, already had roasted grain. How did they roast it? It was the Eimer wasn't brought. Well, they roasted it beforehand. Now, Reb Meir says the Chachamim did not allow that. They did it anyway, but the Chachamim didn't allow that. They did not like what they were doing. What's the reason? If you can't eat it, then you shouldn't be working with it. You might end up eating it while you're... Rabbi Yehuda Eimer, B'tzein Chacham Hayo, I said, no, it was fine. They weren't eating it. They were just toasting it to get it ready to eat toasted grains, like a granola type thing.
It's like after Pesach, they have all the bakeries open.
That's right. An hour after Pesach, they're ready.
You
have
have
pizza ready. That's the question. Is it B'tzein Chachamim or not? So the Gemara asks, Rabbi Yehuda is not concerned that the people that are toasting it are going to eat it while they're toasting, and they're eating it before the Omer is brought. V'raminu, I'll ask you a contradiction. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Baitkin or Arbasar Barbasar Shachas B'Shas Abir V'Chachamim Omer Badak. Rabbi Yehuda is concerned. Says, if you forgot to do the B'dikas Chametz the night before Pesach, you can still do it in the morning. If you didn't do it in the morning, you can do it until the time of burning. After that, don't do B'dikas Chametz. Why? You might end up finding something and eating it. Rabbi Yehuda is concerned that you might end up eating Chametz. The Chachamim say no. If you didn't do B'dikas Chametz before, you do it in the morning. You didn't do it in the morning, you can do it by the Shasabir. You didn't do it Shasabir, you can do it the whole Yom Tov, B'dikas Chametz. The Chachamim are not concerned that you're going to eat it. The Chachamim say that you're going to find it and burn it. But Rabbi Yehuda is of the opinion that if you're going to find it, you may end up eating it. So why is Rabbi Yehuda over here not concerned that while they're toasting the grain, they're going to eat the grain, and it's before the Omer? Rabbi Yehuda says no, it's B'tzayin Chachamim. He doesn't say that when it comes to B'dikas Chametz. Amar Rabba. Rabba says, Shani Chadash. Chadash is different. Because the only way that it was permissible was to take it by hand. They weren't allowed to use a seat or a sickle. So then he's going to remember not to eat it. Okay, this is the first answer. Should we go a little further? Amalei Abaya.
Yeah, because next week, yes, tomorrow is very long.
Okay. Okay, let's see if I remember this. Amalei Abaya. Abaya says, Teinach, it makes sense. Ktsira, the actual harvesting, that you didn't use a sieve. But Tchina v'harkada, when it comes to grinding it and sifting it, that you're doing regular. You may eat it when you're doing it in a normal, when you're doing these activities, which are done in a normal way. Gemara says halei kasha. Tchina berechayim diyada. The grinding it was done in a hand grinder. V'harkada al gabi nafa. V'harkada al gabi nafa. And the sifting it was done on top of the sifter, but not inside the sifter, which means that you had to turn it over.
Upside down.
Okay. Bais hashlachim, a field that needs to be watered, that's not watered naturally by the rain. The sharia ktsira, that over there you're allowed to do a regular harvest. The tanan kaitzim bais hashlachim shabamakim avaloi goitzim, that you're allowed to harvest, but you're not allowed to pile it up until after the Omer. Why over here were you allowed to harvest? Because they didn't want to leave it. If you would leave it, it could dry up. So they would harvest it even before the Omer. There was an exclusion here that they were allowed to do that. There's two interpretations. Rashi says it could be you're allowed to harvest it because the grain was not good enough grain for the Omer anyway. This grain couldn't have been used for the Omer. And the Gemara says that from where you can bring the grain for the Omer, that's the grain that you're not allowed to harvest. And since this grain was
lower quality.
So Mayakal Meimar, over there, what are you going to say that if you're doing everything normal over here, you might eat it? And Rabbi Yehuda says that the Chachamim were allowing things like this. Elam Rabaya, Chadash Badal Minei. When it comes to the Chadash grain, the new grain, everyone is separate from it. They know, Chadash. Stay away. But chametz, lay badal minei. Chametz people don't stay away from it. Why not? The reason is because since it's so natural for us to eat chametz all year, so you're going to make a mistake. So as you're walking by and you're doing your bedikas chametz in the middle of Pesach and you find the cracker, you find a wafer or something, you're not going to remember it's Pesach. Possibly, you might end up eating it because naturally you just put it in your mouth. Oh, these are mommy's cookies. And you eat it. It was from under the couch. However, Chadash, they're going to be separate. And therefore, Rabbi Yehuda would say that by the Bedika, we're afraid you're going to eat it. By Bedikas Chametz, we're afraid you're going to eat it. And by Chadash, they're allowed to toast it even though the Omer wasn't brought. Okay. day.
Let me